All right, Tim from Ski Rex Media here, and I have a little something bonus for you. And I'm tying it into skiing, and I hope I'm getting this out today. It's September 12th. Now, we all know, everybody knows, if you don't know, I feel bad for you, that Queen Elizabeth II has passed on over in, the UK, the Queen. We know who Queen Elizabeth is. She had been queen for 70 years, longest reigning queen ever in history. I like to liken it to, I'm a big I Love Lucy fan. That show was in the late 50s and they talk about the Queen. It was the same Queen, but I know very little about it. But here's the cool thing. Today, I was doing an interview for a podcast episode that will be out on the 28th with Kimberley Kay, the author of Skiing A to Z. So we tie arts into it. Kim, how are you? She's here.
Yeah, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. And Kim is from the UK. She's there at ground level. So we thought, let's get into it. Why not for a few minutes? And we could tie it in. Here's the deal. You need us to tie it in. Kim's a genius. Kim is brilliant. She's far more intelligent than I ever will be. She's like, the royal family skis. King Charles skis. Prince William skis. Prince Harry skis. Little Prince George, he skis. So we're all talking about skiing, but she's there at ground level. Kim, what's it like at ground level?
I think it's been a real shock. I mean, I can only really talk from my point of view, but I mean, like the Queen passing last Thursday, although she's been ill, it's a shock. I mean, her mother lived to be over 100, and the family do seem to live to a good age. So, yeah, and I think we've had all these Queen's Jubilee, the Platinum Jubilee celebrations this year, and so it's been a really special year for the country in terms of, in celebrations and kind of post-COVID and the royal family. And then her passing last Thursday, which feels like a really long time ago, although it's only now the Monday after, it feels like a real long time because there's been so much happen. And the BBC, it's pretty much constantly on the TVs, either showing what's happening in terms of the there was the proclamations yesterday of the King, of King Charles II, and now the Queen's body today has been moved to Edinburgh, and then these remembrance and services of thanksgiving for the Queen's life. And it's just like this whole huge thing that I don't know. I mean, I just didn't see it coming. And I know a lot of people are just like, it's a real shock.
It was. And it was a shock around the world. Like, and you were saying, like, her mother over 100, she 96, Prince Philip was 99. Like, these people are tough, man.
Yeah, that's it. And it's like, I remember when I was sort of at nursery school, which is before like, kind of proper full-time school, we had this big garden party at the nursery for her silver jubilee. And, that's when I was just a little kid, and she'd just been this constant. And it feels a little bit like a rug being pulled out from under, I don't know, the kind of the country. And it sort of almost feels like the country has changed by the fact that of her passing. Everything's sort of changed and shifted. And then suddenly, kind of your whole life you're singing God Save the Queen, and that's the anthem. And then bang, it's like, then it's God Save the King, and then there's King Charles II, and it feels like he's now been, like, there's been so long of him kind of being in that role. But yeah, this is just a matter of just a few days. So, and then this is going to go on now for, the funeral is a week today. And so then there's lying in state in the meantime, and there's all the flowers accumulating at the palaces, which I have a bit of a feeling of that because after Diana died, I did go by Buckingham Palace, and so kind of, sort of similar kind of, situation where people are just feeling the need to show their respects, for someone who so diligently served the UK and the Commonwealth, for so much, for the vast majority of her life. And it's like it's a total job for life.
It is. And it's very interesting to me to see how the people are reacting, because we as Americans are, because of the difference in government structure, our presidents are there max 8 years. and then it's done. And if they pass on, we do celebrate it. We do see it, but it doesn't seem to be as connected. There's like a disconnect that people from your country and your area don't have. Like, it is a very, and again, I can't speak for everyone. Kim can't speak for everyone, but it seems like culturally, whatever it is, it's almost like someone in the family, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it is. It's like this sort of wise kind of elder figure, who, thankfully for all of us, seems to have kind of, sort of been, pushing things in the right direction. It's like it could have been very different, and it's like every time that we have a coin in our pocket, it's got the Queen's head on it. Not every stamp, because they do like picture stamps and things, but a lot of the stamps have, every note, every sterling note has got the Queen's head on it, so it's just something that's totally like woven into the fabric of, of like daily lives. And so like suddenly there's this adjustment, and I don't know, it's a bit like, I think, when someone in the family dies and you sort of move up a slot, you know what I mean? It's like suddenly that kind of older layer of, is kind of, as a family has passed on. But yeah, it's a monumental thing.
It really is. And to that point, people, really start to, as humans, we understand mortality. We are all going to die at some point, but that really hits you as new generations prior start to pass on. It feels like this one just made the whole world realize it. In my opinion, like, everybody's like, holy smokes, this was someone who was considered by many to be a great leader, did a heck of a good job at what she did. And now, and for all of our lives, like for all of us worldwide, and now she's gone. It's like, holy smokes. It's hard to explain, but it just feels like grandma passing on.
Yeah, that's a lot of people are saying that. It is a real shock, and people are a little bit like, because obviously we haven't, like most people, like my mum and dad. My dad remembers the King dying. He remembers hearing. He said he was on a trike by the back door of their house, and he heard on the radio that the King has died. My mum remembers the coronation. And both of them say that, like, kind of they got a television specially to be able to watch the coronation when they were just small children. And, and people all being kind of gathered around, but there's a lot of these things like the proclamations that were happening yesterday in this Privy Council meeting. It's, these things haven't been televised because a lot of them predated, like mainstream television. So it's just this fascinating, ceremonial things that are going on. And, I feel like I'm just learning so much about our group of nations that I had no clue. It is just fascinating. There's just all these sort of layers of kind of history, and and in the past, when I was sort of probably in my 20s, I kind of sort of didn't really understand sort of, I kind of was struggling with about the monarchy. But I mean, it does bring a lot of people, to the UK, and it stands, it kind of keeps hopefully the government on track. But I mean, it's like but kind of, I think as time has passed, I've just thought, it's something that kind of predates, everyone that I know. And so, don't mess with it, really, but I mean, in the space of the last week, it was only last Tuesday that the Queen shook hands with a new Prime Minister. So in the past week, we've had 2 Prime Ministers and 2 monarchs. It's a lot to process.
I can imagine. And again, it's a culturally different thing. Like, we have the big to-do when, every 4 years or 8 years when a new president is elected and whatever. It is a completely different thing. And I feel like it's different than other monarchies that still exist in the world. Like, it's just something about that over there where you are that's different from other places. Like, there are nations who have kings, queens, and so on, princesses, use, these words. But I think, the English and the UK, I should say more specifically, is, I don't know, there's just something about it that it captures the attention worldwide. And it just seems different. And it seems like it's something that can be used. There are critics who say, why is this still being done in the 21st century? I was like, I don't know, because I'm not there, but they seem to do it well and it works for them. So why question it? Yeah,
that's it. It's like these things, kind of they're sort of steeped in history. I mean, I think that, people are saying that these things are evaluated and people looking forward as to what King Charles the third will, what he will sort of bring to it. And, and I've actually heard him speak at a charity event a number of years ago now, but I was actually really inspired by his, what he said about the environment. And he's very much, for environment, community, and trying to make positive changes. So I'm hopeful for, and he has said very much, as I've interpreted it, that he intends to continue in the kind of vein, that the Queen did. So and then obviously then William moves then to be heir to the throne, Prince of Wales. Now William, as we know, is a skier, as now King Charles is. King Charles and Diana took their children skiing. So Prince William and Prince Harry both learned to ski, and now I know that William's family, William and Kate, take their family skiing. So I feel hopeful that the next three generations, the next three in line for the next three monarchs are all skiers. So that's a positive.
It is a positive. And you know what? It just goes to show you, a lot of people look at skiing as an elitist thing. People would say to you, because there's a lot of jerks in this world, absolutely, and would say to that, well, of course, they're elitist monarchs. Of course they ski. It's an elitist sport. That's not the point. Anybody can do it. Everybody can do it. Everybody should at least try it. If you don't like it, that's different. But don't think that everybody has to be like these rich elitist people that you already have some kind of, you think a certain way about. Kim and I aren't rich elitist people, and we do it. We have a good time. And to the royal family point, it is a family thing, and they're showing that. That's what I see. I see now we're up to 3 generations of people on the hill. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think skiing's a sport that a family can do together. Different generations can all do it together. And I think there's not many things that you can, it's like if you were playing tennis and you were playing your game, and then you'd probably be kind of knocking the kids out with, banging tennis balls at them. You know what I mean? It's like, but
totally.
Skiing, it is something that you can all do together. Yeah, you might adjust your speed, and kind of like you choose terrain that's kind of good for everybody. But it is a great sport that people can enjoy as a family, and it's special times, and whether it's royalty or or regular people, it's something that's a great escape. I mean, when you're skiing, you can't really think about much else, can you? So it's the magic of the mountains really are a great distraction from whatever else is kind of you struggling with, on a more day-to-day basis.
She's definitely not wrong. You get lost in it, and it's wonderful. In fact, a lot of people, to that point, they get lost in it, and it helps, maybe it's your day-to-day stresses. Maybe it's something. Maybe you deal with depression or something like this. And, medical professionals say if you have that kind of an issue, go exercise anyway. But this is a great way to do it. You're out in the crisp, cool air, trees, mountains, sometimes little animals. There was just a video that came out of New Zealand of an echidna that walked up on a snowboarder, checked out her snowboard, and left. Very strange. Nature's a wonderful thing, and skiing is a nature sport, and it's wonderful, and it is something you could do with your kids, the whole family, royal family. If you hear this, Prince William, give me a call. We'll talk skiing, man. You'll be the biggest guest ever.
That would be wonderful, wouldn't it? That would be amazing to hear kind of, to hear William's experiences of skiing and how, kind of how he finds it and, what it means to their family. That would be really something. I mean, it must be incredibly difficult for them at the moment to be, it's when a family member dies, you need to take time to kind of, sort of to grieve and to mourn, but they're having to do that so publicly, and there's just pretty much kind of one event after another for them to have to be at and attend, and, it must be incredibly difficult. I really, really feel for them, and thoughts go out to them and all the people that are, that have been really close to, to the Queen and that are close to the royal family. I mean, it's like just normal people. We're all feeling it. It must be a terrible loss for them.
Double for them, because it's a family member. It's the matriarch of your family, a woman who's been on this planet forever and have seen, like any people who have lived through the 20th century saw things that we will likely never see again, or at least not for a long time, like the progression of humanity and technology, and just the world getting smaller with the advent of the internet and these things like this. And then the protocols that have to go with it as well, because there's their private lives, but then there's the public with all the protocols and all that stuff, which I know nothing about.
Yeah, and then some seriously dark times that that the Queen lived through, and thankfully their generations, kind of gave us and established a freedom that we enjoy, and so I mean, I think as a woman, she's been an incredibly inspiring individual, really sort of through her kind of dedication, being so stoic and stalwart, and just kind of keep going on. It's quite impressive how she dedicated herself and stuck with the job, stuck with it.
She did. And she did a great job at it. Everybody has said that she did it well. Now, before you go, this one's just for me, mostly. And you can even tell me you don't want to answer it if you don't want to, but has it been, at least for what you've seen, more, I don't know, patriotism to it? Like, there have been some clowns out there who have said some awful stuff in the last couple days. It's like, dude, respect the dead. Like, if you disagree, one thing, but there's been some awful stuff said. But at ground level, has it been not that, hopefully not as negative?
Yeah, I've not really heard much with people, kind of sort of in kind of, face-to-face conversations. Generally, I mean, even if people don't really agree with the monarchy, they respect the fact that she diligently did her job and stuck with it. And, and there's a lot of respect for that. And I mean, I feel really sad about her passing, but I feel that that's almost a sort of selfish thing, because it's about the change in our lives. Whereas, she was well deserving of, being able to sort of to rest, and I hope that she will rest in peace, and and that her legacy will live on.
And I hope so too. Like I said, there's just people out there that are just clowns, and it's not a good thing. Like, again, I find it very interesting, in an educational way. Plus, again, this woman, in my entire life, I have said, when talking about, the monarchy and the history of it, it's always been Queen Elizabeth II. But here it's been Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, George Bush, Bill Clinton, George Bush again, Barack Obama. It's, for us, it's a whole different thing. So it is very interesting. And there's a lot more we could get into, but some of it, I don't even know if Kim could possibly know. I remember watching Prince William's wedding, and it was mostly, the wedding is whatever. I wasn't interested in all that, but the history and but they were just like, he gets this title, that title, she gets this happens here, this moves there, that moves there. I was like, wait, what? How do you know this stuff? You can't possibly. There's so much.
There is so much. I mean, I think that the Queen, though, I think two things that will kind of, sort of made me chuckle, and I really sort of thought were absolutely just amazing, was when she did the James Bond sketch leading into the Olympics, the London 2012 Olympics, when she went with Daniel Craig, and they went on the boat down to the opening ceremony of the Olympics. I don't know if you've seen that, but if you've not, you should just find it on YouTube. It's awesome. And then at the party at the Palace in this summer, how she did the sketch with Paddington. I'm assuming you've seen that. That was just pure gold. I heard a story about that where basically the production company, they were sending someone to the Palace to research for doing this sketch, and they planned to use Helen Mirren or another actress as the Queen. Okay. And apparently this person, the lady in waiting of the Queen, said to this person, yeah, the Queen wants the sketch herself. And they said, sorry, what? And so this person went back to the production company and said, the Queen wants the sketch herself. And they were just absolutely like flabbergasted. And so that's how that came about. It was never intended to be the Queen. She volunteered for it, said she wanted to do it, apparently didn't tell anyone in the royal family. And so when it went out on the TV, that was a complete surprise. So it was just pure gold.
That is gold. She was cool. She was just cool. Again, as far as I know, I don't know the people personally, so I can only say so much, but she seemed cool to me, but again, I'm an American. It's different, and I can only study. I can't see it at ground level, If the same thing happened over here, I could do this, but again, it's not ground level, and being out of school, I don't keep up with my studies as much as I probably should. And again, Kim and I could probably go on all day about this, but we won't, because out there it's already 4:00 in the afternoon, and here it's almost lunchtime, and people have lives. We still have to live them. But this was still cool, Kim, to talk to someone who's on street level. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's a very poignant time, and so it's just it's interesting to talk about, and to pay respects.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody, just pay respects. Maybe you don't agree with it, maybe whatever, but respect, the job that was done, and if someone has passed, and that is someone's family. And how would you feel if I trashed your grandma tomorrow? You wouldn't like it. And I wouldn't do that, because I'm not that kind of a jerk. Thank you, Kimberley Kay, author and illustrator of Skiing A to Z. Awesome book, skiingatoz.com, inspirebykim.com. Check out the book, and we talk about the book again and more in her episode that will be out on Wednesday, the 28th of September, first thing in the morning. So there you go.
Thank you. I'm going to have to dash.
Absolutely. No, take off. Have a good evening.
Yes.
Everybody else, have good days whenever you listen to this. Thanks again, Kim. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.